Hey, it's Henry Camp. You're here because you've been exposed to the Aviation Protection Group. And when you saw that this investment has the potential to return 25 to 75 times your investment in around 5 years, your instinctive reaction was, not in any world I've ever seen. My guess is that you won your money the hard way, by hard work, perseverance, and luck. You're right. The difference of having a lasting, decisive competitive edge puts us in a whole new situation. You might have to imagine it. This short video explains why the times offer such operational leverage to make so much difference. This video will make clear why the times we are in now are completely new. It's the first time in a century that engine turnaround time is more critical than a lower cost of overhaul. Important for whom? Airlines, asset lessors, other aviation support companies, passengers, and the world. New circumstances require a new approach. The Aviation Protection Group is the only one with that new approach. That gives us a decisive and lasting competitive edge. I'll show you the big picture of how much good the Aviation Protection Group will accomplish. I'll show you our profit impact on all airlines in aggregate. I'll show you the impact on travel and tourism, which represents 14% of the world's GDP. Then you decide if this investment's for you. This diagram shows the flow of money. At least any interruptions were temporary and the people in the industry knew how to get things back flowing again. The more customers who wanted to fly, the more money everyone in the industry made. At the top is the source of planes that carry us everywhere. Who are they? Manufacturers, lessors, buying an existing plane from another carrier, and airlines can get planes back by performing the required maintenance to make them safe and so they can fly them again. An obvious name is plane suppliers. The aircraft in the world's fleets that are ready to go is the next capacity bucket. If there are enough and they're in the right places, money flows through. Pilots and crews are the next potential capacity check. If the air is too busy for the number of air traffic controllers, they delay the flights until there's more space up there. If we have enough capacity in airports, the money keeps flowing straight on through full strength. Now let's switch to after COVID was over. You remember a shortage of pilots being in the news. Then it was a shortage of crews. There were disruptions in other areas as well, air traffic control and airports. The consequences were things didn't flow quite as well. It looks like work taking longer than normal, even if there's nothing unusual. The management understood what to do and did it. Things got better. You aren't hearing about pilots, crews, air traffic controllers as much now. These charts show domestic aircraft production stalled out at just under 2/3 of 2017 levels. Not only that, but they don't expect it to get back to 3/4 of 2017 in the next 3 years. New engine production is also impaired. Lessors have the inventory they have, no more. All they can do is steal from Peter to provide Paul. Likewise, airlines can buy planes from each other, but what does that do to increase the total number of flying? Yet passenger growth is expected to top 6% per year. The main moving parts in planes are engines. So let's delve into engine maintenance. The companies that repair engines are called MROs, maintenance and repair organizations. How is the maintenance industry doing? From April of 2020 until the summer of 2023, the airlines had unused planes, so they weren't forced to do expensive maintenance. What happens to an industry that gets minimal revenue for over 3 years? They lay off staff and go out of business. Who knows how much capacity remains? To make the point, I'll guess half. Let me show you the whole picture. According to Oliver Wyman, a big aviation consultancy, there are 28,400 active aircraft of all types worldwide. Every year, some planes get too old to be used, either because they're too expensive to repair, or the FAA in the US or the IAA internationally decree that they're used up. Is 500 retirements normal? Well, since commercial planes typically last around 30 years, production per year must have averaged around 1,000. So the industry is retiring half as many planes as normal in 2024. Lots of reasons: scaling up on newer models, lower production rates. On the good side, we expect 1,500 new plane deliveries in 2024. That adds 1,000 planes between retirements and deliveries of new aircraft. Just to keep up with the current month's required maintenance means overhauling about 4,000 engines per year. Since there are 2 engines per plane, that's 2,000 more planes that will be grounded in 2024 for required maintenance. And only half of those will get it due to MROs functioning at half capacity. In all, 0 increase in planes in 2024. Yet, more people want to fly. I mentioned that about 1,000 planes have been produced per year over the last 30 years. Here's a picture of that. The dot-com recession was in 2001. The Great Recession started in late 2008. We start to see it in 2010. The COVID recession was 2020. Planes have long lead times. Currently, there is a 13-year delay to get the one that you ordered yesterday. I say that because long lead times mean that plane owners must think ahead, far ahead. If the industry requires 1,700 planes this year and more next, where are they going to get them? If they don't get them, it means higher ticket prices, more flight cancellations due to too few spare engines in planes, and an impaired financial recovery that affects the whole world. So what to do? Here's the answer. MROs are our only hope. To get out of this jam, where there simply aren't enough planes, the industry needs more than just increased capacity. It needs speed. Overhauls must be completed faster. In Q1 of 2024, overhaul turnaround times are typically 10 months and rising. What's the solution? The Aviation Protection Group will reduce turnaround times dramatically, turning this back to this. The benefits are 3. More profit for the airlines, lower ticket prices for travelers, and fewer cancellations that disrupt travelers' plans. What's the value to the world of this knowledge? Here's the impact on all airlines in aggregate. Up to double profits for the whole industry. The ones who don't use us get nothing, and the ones who do grab their share. Of the world's GDP, travel and tourism is a $14 trillion portion. That's trillion with a T. And air traffic makes it possible to spend much of that money. Here's the increase in world trade. That's the big picture. In conclusion, do you see that there's a new context here? that it's not what you've been familiar with, that it's not what you experience in your own companies that allowed you to build your wealth and think about investing, that unexpectedly good outcomes are possible. Yep, having a decisive competitive edge that's lasting is a whole new situation, one with which I am quite familiar. Let me lead you through it. In summary, by year 5, I expect airlines will earn an extra $10 to $30 billion per year. That's thanks to the Aviation Protection Group. We do this while earning 10 times as much as other MROs our size. We do this without making enemies by gaining market share at other MROs' expense. Our parts division captures $1 million worth of profit per engine we overhaul at normal prices without having to compete. We take advantage of our MRO's speed and parts availability to establish a pool of ready-to-fly engines for the typical unexpected maintenance emergencies that arise normally in the aviation space. In none of these 3 areas can competitors copy what we offer in these times. Yes, you're right. Almost no investor has seen such a scenario, especially one which I expect to last for more than a decade. One last point. I agree it's also possible that a lack of demand for repaired engines could diminish the opportunity. If you think that airlines will only need 10% of the planes I've projected, then the range of return is from $1.4 billion to $3.1 billion, and that's from a $0.4 billion investment, which calculates to an internal rate of return of 28% to 51%, from pessimistic to optimistic. That's good enough for you? Make a commitment and we'll beat those outcomes. No one knows the future, but Oliver Wyman, a major aviation consultancy, predicts that there will be 36,400 planes in the world's fleets 10 years from now. That's 8,000 more planes. Getting a 737 back in the sky through maintenance of 2 engines costs under $10 million, compared to $110 million for a new plane. I project that we'll overhaul between 962 and 1,528 engines. That's 481 to 764 planes. Now ask yourself, will some decision makers prefer the just as functional, less expensive approach for 5% to 10% of those planes they need to procure over the next decade? I think the demand is there and more. This video should have clarified the times in which we find ourselves. Turnaround times are king, no longer cost of overhaul. The whole aviation industry needs saving. The Aviation Protection Group will do it. Trust that the Aviation Protection Fund will be compensated nicely for accomplishing this good. Now give me your financial commitment. Let's make this happen. It's a shame to waste this opportunity for even another day. Thanks for listening. I hope I've talked you out of your normal world and into this world.